ora, Gemini. Thanks for joining me. This is your reading for this full moon in Taurus lunar eclipse, partial lunar eclipse. We're coming in here, it's the 29th here today. So let's get into it. We do go through and clarify with a few other decks. We've got a rock mineral crystal card face down for you that I'll pull up at the end. See what's whether it pertains to the reading. So let's get into it. Gemini, check out other titles that might stand out for you at this time. And let's see. There's something here that just looking on the cuff, off the cuff, whatever, at the cards here. There could be something that sort of there could be a little niggle of potential saboteur energy, though. Let's just see. Self-saboteur. We all have that. 9 of Discs. This is a card of great independence. It's a good position. It's coming towards the end of that suit. So there's a level of a sort of we've got to a point of gain. It is called gain in the Thoth deck. We've got to a point where we're surrounded by, things that we value, the things in life that we value here. It's a good position to be in. It's a good position to be in. Let's just keep going. 3 of Discs, very strong pyramidal shape here. We are moving and we are working with others. There's a heavy emphasis on collaboration and creating something new. Now, we might be taking sort of tentative steps in this. We're just trying to get, we're trying to build it in the physical world. This is not just a few thoughts running around in the head. This is really seeking out like-minded compadres, for collaboration. We're building something new. We want to. And maybe there has been a feeling of being quite alone in our 9 of Discs. Because there is that part. There is that aspect to that card. And so we seek collaboration. We seek, like-minded fellows. There's a blasting here with the Knight of Wands. Fire of Fiery Knight can be reactionary. But the aspect of this card, which I see in here with the other cards, is that it's telling us something about the pitfalls of rumination, because there is none in this card. None at all. It is reactionary, yes, but it is actionary as well. It's an activator. And so we've got this blast of fire. It wakes us up. It cracks open the nut, the seed. It is required for the creation of new things here. So it's, it could be a personality in your life. It could actually be an aspect of your own personality, So, and then we have the lovely Prince of Swords. We see here thought forms. We're not unfamiliar with this, Gemini, this kind of creation of these thought forms, which can go and take us in many and varying different directions very quickly. There's no focus in this card. In saying that, and they are described, in the Book of Thoth, it's these sort of fairy figures, you could say. And so these thought forms are as real as anything. We create who it is that we are. We can change that script. But, this is a very, it's a fractionated kind of energy. And sometimes there is a purpose to that. that we get carried along. Look, there's a lot of light in here. There's a lot of sun, actually. And here, you know, see all of that yellow, all of the gold. It's potentiality, of course. But it's that we get, you know, the necessity sometimes to move into a whole selection of different zones in order to figure out what it is that's going to suit our needs. So we're not focused or fixated on necessarily on any outcome in a particular way, like, and this is a sort of Gemini trait, really, that the outcome will be, we desire the best outcome, but we aren't fixated in, like, there's a wealth of wonderful outcomes within any kind of scenario or situation, isn't there? And so it's not just fixated on one thing. Therein lies that general nature of that print. So let's stop going on about it and we'll clarify. See if we can clarify here. The Nine of Discs, this wonderful card, it is an independent card. It is a card of knowing what you value, what is important to you to be your best. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Discs coming out here. Solid potential messages coming through here. Page of Discs prepares the ground, prepares the soil, reliable, a foundation. Now we've got this foundation beginning in the next line here. With that Page of Pentacles, this is about very practical matters, Gemini. We have your card. We have the Lovers. So we're speaking of a level of integration of that left-right brain scenario. This is a sacred, you can look at it in the sense, in a metaphysical sense, of the sacred marriage overseen by the Hermit. Now, we're also just speaking simply of commitments and choice here. But this is you. And we're talking here, what's the word that springs to mind when we're talking about what do I need to be my best is not the same as someone else, right? So in here we see this wonderful sense of equanimity and balance. You see where this is kind of going, don't you, in some ways? Just reading. To a point. Let's look at the Three of Discs. Three of Discs for Gemini. Opportunities come when you don't necessarily see them as opportunities. We've got the Four of Cups here. This is an offering. It may look different to you than what you consider an offering to be. But don't write it off. This is about building something with others. Is this about your ability to work within group, to work with others? Is that something that needs to be kind of looked at a little bit, maybe, just for yourself? And when we think of the Four of Cups, we know that fours are all very stable and very secure. And that water needs to flow, as does generosity. Right. Interestingly, we get the Sun coming out, very, very good, vital, life force. This is about collaboration with others and knowing that that's the right thing to do, that we have resources and they are within the people around us and the people that we meet. Beautiful sun. There's a lot of fun here in the sun. Fun in the sun. And with that also the Nine of Discs again. Look, generosity. Keep the flow going, isn't it? Here we have this representation of that Nine of Discs, which is called gain. We are surrounded by what we value here. We've created that, and potentially it's time to sort of bring some other people in there. We might be getting a bit lonely, Gemini. So keep going. Let's keep going. Knight of Wands. This is habits. I mean, we're getting habits. We're getting attachments coming up. I say that because attachments, dependencies, things of that nature, I just say that because we get the El Diablo here. Coming up to see the Knight. The Knight, as I said, the good thing about the Knight is there's not a lot of rumination that goes on, which can be something Gemini struggle with. So there's an impulsive, reactionary energy here. And then we have the Devil here. We're speaking of, you know, are we looking at habits, dependencies, codependencies, all of that sort of stuff, addictions, all of that kind of thing? Is that an element for some of us here? I think it's an element for all of us, really, combined with this 8. So we're talking this, all 8s around kind of mental faculties. We've got the 8 of Cups. We're looking for 2. We walk away from these, but what it's actually talking about is creating a level of objectivity. And I do hear this thing of not taking things so personally, Gemini. Within your collaborations with others, if that is something that you struggle with. There's a lot going on here, and I really have to stick with one narrative. And so this is the nature of it on this platform. Okay. We're looking at the Prince of Swords. The Prince of Swords. Wow, this is interesting. So we're looking, as I was saying about the Prince, delightful Prince being taken in a merry dance here, there, and everywhere. There often is a reason for that, and I think it's actually quite healthy sometimes to do that. We don't always have to be fixated on a specific goal. This state, we don't necessarily want it to last for a long, long time, because that turns into something kind of unhealthy. But for a brief time, unhealthy, unhelpful. But for a brief time, it's good. To clarify that, we've got the 4 of Discs. So we're looking at a figure covering all the vital organs, really, with the discs. It's all very stable. It's very secure. We all need that. We all need that level of security. But is there something here that we can let go of? This is something that's sort of like, there's a thought process going on for some Geminis. You could liken it to air signs generally at the moment. There's a particular process about stepping from the land of ideas into the land of practicality and reality, the physical world. The physical world. And what do we, if anything, what do we need to let go of? Is there something? I think there's an understanding of something that we can let go of, if that makes sense, in order to get the wheel moving, because we then have the Wheel of Fortune. We have an opportunity, Gemini, to be on that wheel on the top of that wheel. And all I can see actually in this card, which is not always the case, is the cup here. Stands out like a beacon. Stands out like a beacon, an opportunity coming through. See it as such. Let us get a Brian Froud, Pixie and Fairy, just to see an overview. Just one little card, just a wee glimmer. Just a wee glimmer. We get two glimmers here. We get a very earthy character, a good balance between the lit up crown, the heart. He himself is an earthy, almost Taurian character. We're working it in many different worlds all at once here. And with that, we have the bright mother. Now you could liken this to the left, right brain, the dual aspects of the Gemini native. You know, this beautiful bright mother. What do they call it? You know, like the central point, like the ringmaster at the circus. It just reminds me of that. You know, the person that holds everything together. So we've got this what do they call it? By something. I've lost my ability to speak with much sense right now. But you know, bifocal, something like that. Anyway, so those two things, we're sort of seeing the capabilities of in a standard sense, the Gemini nature, which is looking at many, many different things at once, maybe not being so focused at times on one outcome, because we are not fixed in that sense. Now, excuse me, what have we got? Rock mineral crystal. We've got beautiful blue calcite. Love it. Soothing, inner peace, a universal perspective, Gemini. You're familiar with that. Strong memory. blue calcite. So it's a lovely, beautiful rock to carry in your mind's eye if you do not have any at home. So on that note, I hope you got something from this reading. It's all kind of interesting, and there's a spirit of wanting to share within here, and in the doing so, a sort of really good, healthy rebalancing of oneself. So on that note, take it easy, ka kite, and we'll see you next time for the new moon. Bye for now.